Chapter 5. The Pyramids of Life in the World. Pyramid Structures, a Historical and International View. One might wonder why I chose a pyramid to represent the economic structure I've observed in society. My answer would be that the pyramid is a physical structure that makes sense to me. A look into history shows I'm not the first to use a pyramid to categorize economic groups. In fact, the pyramid is everywhere. Ancient Egypt wasn't the only civilization to conceive the pyramid. Globally, pyramids have served as social and economic organizational frameworks for countless civilizations. It turns out that the ziggurats in ancient Mesopotamia were powerful symbols of religious devotion and social hierarchy. The upper class lived in luxury and wielded authority, while the lower class toiled to maintain the system. Similarly, medieval European feudal systems were essentially economic pyramids. At the top stood landowning lords and monarchs, while peasants and serfs at the bottom labored to sustain the system, much like the delicate balance I mentioned earlier. Even in the Americas before European contact, Mayan and Aztec pyramids symbolized social hierarchy as much as architectural prowess. At the top sat the ruling class. At the bottom were commoners, farmers, and craftsmen. In both their physical and symbolic forms, these pyramids represent humanity's deep-rooted preference for structured hierarchies. So, when I say the pyramid is nature's way of sustaining civilizations and offers a stable approach to life and work, I might not be exaggerating. How contemporary economies use the pyramid. Even today, the pyramid remains a fundamental organizational structure. Corporations, governments, and the global economy all follow this hierarchical model. Executives and CEOs sit atop most corporations, controlling nearly every aspect of the business. Below them are managers, and at the base, a vast workforce handles daily operations. For instance, Walmart employs over 1.6 million people in the U.S., most of whom work on the front lines managing daily store operations. Above them, store managers, regional managers, and executives occupy the upper tiers of the pyramid. The economic pyramid is evident in the U.S. population as well. While half the population are employees, the rest are not primarily entrepreneurs. Instead, 22% are children and teenagers who are below working age. 18% are retired. The remaining 5% comprises students, stay-at-home parents, caregivers, disabled individuals, and the unemployed. Entrepreneurs and the wealthy account for just 3% of the population. Also, across the world, the economic pyramid is a global phenomenon. A small fraction of the population controls a disproportionate share of wealth. Recent research reveals that half of the world's wealth is owned by the wealthiest 1%, while billions survive on less than $5.50 per day. Despite the vast wealth gap, this imbalance mirrors the rigid hierarchies of ancient civilizations. The global economy also follows a pyramidal structure. Corporations and brand owners with global reach and enormous financial power sit at the top. Below them are manufacturers, distributors, and suppliers. At the very bottom are the laborers, factory and farm workers, most of whom live in developing nations, who sustain the system. Continuity at the expense of advancement. One of the most notable aspects of pyramids is their stability. This stability is their greatest asset and the key to their endurance. The vast base supports the small top, preventing the system from collapsing, while the fancy top provides its beauty and attraction. Economically, the system relies on the lower class for consumption, labor, and compliance. Yet this stability comes at a cost. The very structure that ensures resilience also hinders upward mobility. The pyramid's layers are difficult to penetrate due to its inherent rigidity. Systemic barriers, like inadequate health care, education, and economic opportunities, often trap those at the bottom. Meanwhile, the wealthy and powerful are able to maintain their position in society by passing down their wealth and privilege to future generations. Take the modern gig economy, for example. Millions earn a living through ride-sharing and food delivery apps like Uber and DoorDash. Yet these workers often find themselves at the bottom of the pyramid, with minimal benefits, no job security, and limited opportunities for advancement. However, those at the very top, the platform owners and investors, are the ones making the most money. A quick look at their annual revenue is astonishing. Yet they are never on the roads under the elements like members of the base group. The top tier enjoys the system's stability and profitability, while the base struggles with limited upward mobility. Again, I'm not complaining or blaming any group within the pyramid. It's natural that some people take on the roles of producers and leaders, while others have no choice but to remain consumers and followers. Now that I know I'm in the base group, I have decided to heed the words of Benjamin Disraeli. Never complain, never explain. It means not to complain or explain what you're doing, planning, or where you find yourself. Just do what you need to do and let your actions speak for themselves. The volume model. The base group drives volume. By volume, I mean the volume of sales, number of subscribers, customers, wallets, employees, likes, views, and clicks. For most businesses, success is a numbers game, targeting the base group and even members of other groups. I've always wondered why YouTube ads urge me to click for a free video or trial. If they've figured it out, why do they need to pull me in or tell me about it? I thought generational wealth was the goal. Shouldn't they focus on enriching their own family first? Also, it's puzzling why companies pay YouTube huge sums for ads, only to offer their products or training for free. The answer: volume. These ads reach millions, some enjoy the free product. Others become paying customers, covering costs and driving profit. Every business aims to sell more products if possible. Depending on your product and target customers, the base group can provide sales and customers if you know how to reach them. The volume principle is central to big companies' success strategies. China and India exemplify this, with their vast populations and industries serving both labor and market demand. Their populations serve a dual role, both as a labor force and a massive consumer market. Large population countries that don't leverage their strength in numbers should rethink their approach. They should consider exploiting potential instead of fixating on limitations. A sizable middle class and a strong workforce further bolster the market for essential commodities in many countries. Crises like the pandemic expose global vulnerability to basic needs. Recognizing their population's economic power helps nations build resilience and sustain growth. Big companies at the top of the pyramid leverage vast workforce to produce diverse products. When the Chinese workforce halted production during the pandemic, many countries faced sudden shortages, highlighting the reliance on employees for labor and production, which ultimately benefits the privileged elite. With its vast workforce and diverse industries, China has become a global powerhouse, one the world depends on. Companies and the impact of volume. Many companies thrive on the volume model, serving tens to hundreds of millions of customers. Visa, for example, which serves over 300 million customers. Visa's revenue comes from transaction fees, data processing, licensing, branding, and other charges. These fees generate massive revenue, thanks to Visa's vast customer base. In 2022 alone, Visa recorded revenue exceeding $29 billion, with a net income over $14 billion, averaging more than $1 billion per month. Visa isn't tied to basic necessities, yet its role in global transactions fuels its success. In 2014, Visa processed an astonishing 100 billion transactions globally through its secure data centers. Since its founding in 1976, Visa has faced ups and downs, particularly after unifying national and international credit card licensing under the Visa name. Netflix is another example, boasting over 250 million global subscribers, including over 70 million in the US alone. Subscribers pay monthly fees for access to Netflix's streaming service. With over 70 million US subscribers, Netflix's monthly revenue surpasses the total number of millionaires, about 25 million in the country each month. Most of its subscribers fall within the trapezium and base groups of the pyramid. Netflix's expansion attracts a global audience, growing its subscriber base and strengthening its market presence. By bringing Netflix new subscribers, you create value for the company and earn in return. Some companies serve more customers than the U.S. population, especially national wireless carriers. AT&T, Verizon Wireless, Sprint and T-Mobile collectively serve over 330 million subscribers, dominating the market with minimal competition. Walmart welcomes over 240 million customers worldwide each week. Amazon draws over 160 million monthly shoppers. Starbucks sees 100 million weekly visits, and CVS serves 4.5 million daily customers. These figures apply to the U.S. market alone, and the list keeps growing. Even a $1 product per customer can be transformative for these companies, and they generate far more. These companies generate billions in revenue, largely from the base and lower to mid trapezium segments of the pyramid. No wonder Mark Cuban said, "You only need to get it right once." One breakthrough has put these companies on the path to success. They have identified valuable products and services with recurring demand and limited competition, exerting significant influence over the decisions, action, and spending habits of every pyramid group. This is just a glimpse of companies using the volume model. Other examples include Delta 110 million customers, iTunes 225 million users, Costco 65 million paying members spending at least $60 annually, and Amazon 190 million Prime subscribers. The list continues with companies like Nintendo Wii, Comcast, Charles Schwab, Chewy, Spotify, and many others. Most of these customers fall within the base and trapezium groups of the pyramid. Notice that the subscription fees or charges are small and fall within the payment limits of the base group. I call this the price model, a strategy where monthly subscriptions stay under $20. Rather than opposing these companies, study their strategies and find ways to work with them, not just as employees but as contractors or business partners. They have the numbers. Find ways to plug in or disrupt them if you can. Opportunities exist for those who seek them. Research your field of interest and find a way to tap into this pipeline. If you generate them business, they will listen to you. The volume model isn't just for big companies. It's a natural principle anyone, including the base group, can leverage to change their lives. Many authors have found success by selling millions of books, ideas, stories, and memoirs using this model. These books resonate because they appeal to a broad audience, particularly those in the base group who make up the market for various products, including essential goods from large companies. This consumer population believes that books like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich have the potential to transform their lives. Hill began in the base group as an employee, a journalist, facing multiple financial struggles, failed business, and many months of instability. His path to wealth followed the volume model. Countless readers, looking for an escape, found hope and inspiration in his books. In today's social media era, many leverage the volume model, especially on platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. They market products to millions, driving traffic to their stores and websites to boost sales and subscriptions. Some even encourage users to click on links leading to free videos or training, all in an effort to sell strategies or processes they claim will make people overnight millionaires. The more clicks or sales they generate, the more money they earn. It's all about leveraging volume and knowing how to use it to your advantage.